Hey, God bless you. Anyone that may have an opportunity to view this video or this live stream, I ask that you do share it so that other people that are suffering with various autoimmune diseases will find out that there's a way to manage it, to actually reverse it. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this segment because I think that people need to hear it. Um, the first thing I want to say is that I'm doing this vlog because I received a bad diagnosis. I knew that I had um, rheumatoid arthritis. That was something I was diagnosed with in my early 20s, and it was a very, very chronic situation, just not knowing whether it was going to be a good day or whether I would need a lot of help or if I would actually be able to get through the day. I found out later on that it was mostly going to be in the winter months when there was a lot of cold to get into my joints and things like that, that just aggravated it and triggered the symptoms. So when I would go to the grocery store, I did not like going into the frozen food section or the refrigerated section, even in the summer, just because the cold was a trigger to the inflammation in my body. Now, I did, as I mentioned in the last vlog, I did overcome that with alfalfa. Someone that I knew was selling products from, I think it was Amway Company, or one of those that sell the different supplements. And I came across alfalfa, started taking the alfalfa, noticed that I wasn't in pain and that the swelling was going down. I stopped taking my anti-inflammatories. I also stopped taking the Darvocet, which was for the pain, and that's a lot for a person in their early 20s. So it was pretty bad. So by this time, it would have been a very serious condition that may have pretty much debilitated me to a place of either being on a cane, a walker, or maybe even immobile, so that I wouldn't be able to ambulate. But anyway, I got through that segment of the disease and that rheumatoid arthritis. So that was back in the early 2000s that we got rid of that problem, and it went away for about 15, 16 years. And then this year it came back with a vengeance. I thought it was just a case of um, a flare up of the rheumatoid arthritis. But when I went into the doctor, she did the blood work. They did indeed diagnose me with mild lupus as well as rheumatoid arthritis. So there are three things that can happen when you come down with a disease, a bad diagnosis. You can either um, kind of submit to whatever the disease brings to you. You can succumb to that and allow yourself to go through those stages and just, suffer. Or you can pursue a cure or ways to manage it as best possible. Or you can vacillate between the two, where you're fighting and then the fight is gone out of you, and then you start to give in to the disease. Well, I found in some of the research that I've done that there are people at every one of those levels that are dealing with this and have dealt with it for years. Some have even that I know of have succumbed unto death. So I knew it was necessary for me to figure out exactly what is going on with this disease, what is it doing to my body, how can, and if there is something that can be done. So the first thing I had to do was to confront it. So I had to go ahead and do my research. I had to look it up. I had to see what was going on. I had to try to find out if this was something that was curable. If not, what were the percentages of time of chances that I would live through it, and how much time does it usually, what is the usual course of time between diagnosis and death. And so that I could watch the stages of it, so that I could watch for the signs and symptoms and kind of figure out where I'm at. So at this point, what I am doing is writing down everything that happened. So the diagnosis came in early September. And since then, because the incident that I had was so severe, I opted to um, immediately go into a lifestyle change. The lifestyle change was that I would have to rest. I would have to make sure that my body was able to rest and to heal, and to make sure that I wasn't putting too much stress on my joints, and that I was keeping myself in the right climate, temperatures, everything. And then I had to also make sure that the foods were proper. So in that, I began to search for different ways. Number one, because it's autoimmune, it is a disease that is caused by an excess of inflammation in the body. Again, when I was diagnosed, she said my entire body was inflamed, which explains why I was in pain from head to toe. And it was unmanageable, and I was pretty much debilitated for several hours until I was able to get to something like ibuprofen, which would help with the inflammation and the pain. And between that period and the period of the time that the diagnosis and the suggested treatment had been given, I was able to kind of manage life and continue as normal. So what I ended up doing was now, per my son's suggestion, was to get a copy of a book called Goodbye Lupus. Now, I'm going to say this to you because it's not just lupus that is an autoimmune disease. A lot of people suffer with a lot of things unnecessarily. And so I wanted to share this with you. So this is for autoimmune diseases. It's written by a doctor that cured herself of lupus, an autoimmune disease. She cured herself, and she's been in remission for 11 years. Her name is Dr. Brooke Goldner, Goldner. And this doctor tells exactly how people with sicknesses that are triggered by inflammation can overcome and reverse many of them. So I'm just sharing this with you. If you have time for this right now, then follow along with me. If you don't, then look at it later, save it, come back to it, look at it later. If it's not you with the autoimmune disease or condition, then share it with somebody, but they can actually reverse the signs and symptoms and ultimately the disease. All right. So she currently has a webinar for the next few days. I'm sharing this with you, and I hope and pray that someone will find relief and comfort through this. But she has the book again is called Goodbye Lupus. It's by Dr. Brooke, Broke, Goldner. I certainly hope she appreciates the time that I'm taking to tell about this very extraordinary research and success in finding a cure. Now, currently, she's offering a free webinar. So if you go on to YouTube and if you go on to YouTube and you type in Goodbye Lupus, just look for her free webinar. So the webinar is going to give you 6 steps that will actually help you to reverse the disease. So here are some of the things that it helps to cure. Kidney disease. Let's see, she has lupus listed here. Let me look at some of the other ones. Tinnitus, neuropathy, irritable bowel system, bowel um, syndrome, which is IBS, and mental health troubles that people suffer. And her classes are on right now. They're recorded classes. So if you don't have time to pick up a book and read, sit down, get in the corner and read, go to her book. All right. And it's going to tell you how there were other diseases that it also was eliminated. And I wanted to find that for you. But okay, I can't find it at the moment. So we'll get back to that. I'll just list them so that they can be found later on. All right, here's what I've done. I have, God bless you, Sonia. What I have done is, again, I told the doctor after she suggested that I begin treatment and she wanted me to start right away. Well, I didn't want to go through treatment. As you know, many people know I am a chaplain, so I've worked in hospitals and I've seen people suffer with diseases. I've seen them endure treatments and different procedures to try to correct or reverse what was going on in their body, and that was a struggle. And the first thing that comes to my mind is there has to be another way. So I am looking into diet. All right. So one of the first things she says is that the disease can be reversed with superfoods. Superfoods. And those are foods that are going to nourish the body. She says that you have to find out the foods that make you sick. There are foods that will make your body sick, and it may not be anything that was genetic. It may not be something that was in the atmosphere or just in the area that you live because there were plants. Those things happen because there were plants and factories around where you grew up at, chemicals in the air and the atmosphere was just unhealthy. Of course, those things happen, but sometimes that has nothing to do with your sickness. So she does say you want to get away from foods that make you sick. Sometimes it's just what you eat. The second thing she says is that you have to find out the foods that heal the body. There are some foods that will heal you, and it may be something minor, something that you feel is you can tolerate it, and it might not be anything that's even a big interruption or interference with anything you do in life. Who knows what it can turn out to be, but the main thing is you don't have to go through it. So foods that heal, and then also she offers case studies let me see if I can find that. I thought that was just absolutely amazing. Case studies of results. Okay, here are some of the diseases. All right, you'll get case studies. If you go into this webinar she has right now, you'll get all this free. Just turn it on, watch it, and you'll be better for it. Your children, your family, people you love. There is lupus. She's got number one because obviously that's the issue. Rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's disease, scleroderma, Sjogren's, multiple sclerosis. Now that's big. You're talking MS. That's a very, very devastating, debilitating disease, just as lupus can be. But these are case studies where they learned how to rapidly nourish their body and to recover from these throes of of the sickness. So I'll tell you what I did. I started looking into nutrition. I found out that one of the first things she says, and I looked this up, she had a video on YouTube as well that tells what's in the book, Goodbye Lupus. And in the video, she said to take in a pound of vegetables every day. And that was hard. Raw vegetables. That was very hard because just to sit and eat raw vegetables every day and a pound of vegetables, I filled up a pretty decent size um, Ziploc bag, and it was a lot of vegetables. So to think that every day I'd sit down and take the time to go through this bag of raw vegetables, even with the dip and guacamole and whatever sauces that I may want to pour over it. That wasn't as easy as I thought, but it was one of the things that I needed to do. So I did kind of modify it a little bit, and I ate a lot of the vegetables with dip, or I learned to like carrots, and I learned to like the celery with some ranch dressing, and then of course broccoli I do like, and cucumbers I love. So now there was also a second part of that to get the vegetables into my body in raw form, and that was to drink the vegetables. So you could either eat it or drink it, and the drinking was going to be a smoothie, and the base of the smoothie was spinach. So spinach is easy because it takes on the flavor of whatever you put into the blender with it. So she took just about an entire package of spinach and she packed it into her blender. And then she poured on top of it um, frozen, and this is key, frozen mangoes, frozen pineapples, and a banana. Now, if you add in berries, it's going to give it a little more color, but it's also going to make it healthier because berries are so high in antioxidants that it just adds more nutrition and gets rid of all kinds of problems. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. She packed it in and she said it was necessary to have it frozen. She then filled the rest of the way up to the top of the vegetables so that there was about maybe an inch or half an inch, 3/4 of an inch to a half an inch left between the top of the fruits and vegetables to the top of the blender. And she said it's important to have the frozen fruits in there because the heat of the blender while it's blending will actually minimalize or reduce the nutrition in the vegetables and fruits. So it's called hypernutrition because you want everything that you can possibly get out of these foods. So just to eat fruits and vegetables every day is not enough. You will cook out some of the vitamins, even if you cook them, and the nutrition, if you cook them, even if you cook them to where they still have a bit of a little firmness to it or a little crunch to it, depending on which vegetable it is, you have reduced the value of the nutrients in that particular fruit or vegetable. So she says, put the frozen fruits in there with the spinach, and that will keep it at a cold temperature so that even whatever heat, as minimal as it may be, that comes out of blending it in the blender will not affect the value of what you're doing or what you're preparing. So I again modified it. So part of it was going to be raw vegetables every day, and then the other part was going to be the blended vegetables and the smoothie. And that works out good because I get a lot in there. Now, I got tired of that because it wasn't, you know, I'm used to, maybe I'll have a taste for some spaghetti or some lasagna or um, some greens and, macaroni and cheese and just some fried catfish, because I like those kinds of foods. But I had to watch it because all of those things, it wasn't so much that I was conscious of my diet, but I didn't want the pain. That was the main thing. That was the driving force. I did not want that pain. So what I did was allow that pain to motivate me, and in most cases, the pain would be the motivating factor. But there's a downside to that because I'd be afraid that if I ate something, it was going to put me back in that place of debilitation that I was in, unable to do anything, just in pain from my head to my toe, just feeling so forlorn with the pain. It was pretty tormenting. It was in every joint. So I wouldn't eat sometimes. I wouldn't eat. And then I decided I want something that's going to satisfy me. So now I am on a keto diet. Now, that's not easy because you go to the store and you look for the section with the foods that are modified and the ingredients that they use. And I said, oh, I'll just go to my local Kroger because they have an entire section. And I went in there and they said, okay, yeah, that's the whole reason we remodeled the store so that we wouldn't have this nutrition section and you would just have to go to wherever the item is that you're looking for and look for the keto or look for the vegan friendly foods. And so that was just agitating. And then, if you're limited on time and maybe you don't even feel like standing around the store reading every label and all the ingredients and trying to figure out if this is something you can fix or you can eat. So it was a trial. It was trial and error there. I got a few things that I liked. Some of the plant-based meats, like meatballs, and they had like it looked like chicken breasts, and that was not breaded. And then they had, of course, wingdings that were they had taken the fat off, and they had seasoned them. So I just went through a whole series of different ideas of what I was willing to eat and what I wasn't wanting to eat. So now what I have done is turned keto. And I noticed that with the changes, just by eating vegetables and by drinking the smoothies, that I began, the bloat goes away. You may not know how much of what you're looking at is bloat. But I did find out that a lot of that is just being bloated because you're eating some of these foods that are making your body sick. You're having a great time. The fellowship is good. The food is sumptuous. And the food is making you sick. Now I started looking at some of those foods like they were poison, and I'm not talking about like chemical poisons like arsenic or anything like that, but the effect of what these foods are doing to your body in order for your body to metabolize it, in order for your body to pull out the nutrients and get rid of the things like the greases and all the, different chemicals that they use to preserve the food to give it a longer shelf life. So I started looking at it like poison. So my attitude changed, and so I had to change the way that I shopped and the food that I bought. All right, now comes where we are today. I today went into a store called Better Health, and some of you may know about it, and you may have some other suggestions. But I went into a store called Better Health that specializes in foods with the variety of different types of dishes that you can eat with no preservatives, no gluten, no dairy, no GMOs, all of those poisons and toxins that are bloating you and that are making you sick. And the reason why you push back from the table and you're happy because you're full. The food was good. You love the place, but you don't feel completely, as healthy as you think you are because those foods are in there and then your body is working so hard. And it's working, your body's trying to work on it, and it is working on your body. Every cell in your body is working over time. So as I went to Better Foods again, I said, well, I'm definitely going to find some foods that are going to have the correct ingredients in it. So I told you about a app in my last vlog. I told you about an app, and it is called Yuka, Yuka, and the icon is an image of a carrot tilted. It's just a carrot, and it's called Yuka. And so you scan the barcode, and it will tell you if this food has GMOs, cancer causing agents in there, if it has dairy, if it has gluten, and it ranks it. It ranks it. So from 1 to 100. Anything that you can get that will be over 50 will be good. So, uh, a lot of the foods in this store, of course, Kroger was just forget it. It was aggravation and it was time that wasn't even well spent because I found out that just by reading it, it was not going to work for me. But when I got the app and I started scanning everything with the app, uh, I knew that that wasn't my store. So I started going to um, Better Foods on today. Now I went in there and I picked up things that were gluten free. I picked up things that were had no sugar, low to no sodium. It didn't have GMOs. It was just good. I scanned some of it, but it came up pretty low. Um, but most of it came up where it was either good or close to 100. Now I'm telling you, I don't do dairy because it will autoimmune disease and dairy do not get along. So your body is going to suffer. So when I started scanning the foods, I was so excited because I'm thinking, here's some dishes or some meals that I can put back on my menu, like spaghetti, because I can get plant based meatballs. I love them, they were excellent. Um, and I also found a sauce that was going to work for it. I found noodles that were out of 100, they were 90% completely free of all of those toxic foods that are killing the body. And just a lot of things. I even found ice cream. So I found coffee. I found just a lot of things that I enjoy eating. Some of those rice bowls that may have vegetables in it and seasonings on it. I found some of those. Now, granted, this food is expensive, but I can either save money and suffer, or I can spend a little more money and I can pretty much be comfortable. So that's what I wanted to bring to you today. I just wanted to tell you that if you are suffering with the autoimmune disease, remember this, and I'll probably end up quoting it just about every time that I have one of these vlogs to share with you. The person that said it, I don't remember, but they said, we are digging our graves with our teeth. Simply meaning that what we are eating is killing us. And I had no idea that it was going to be so painful to eat certain foods, but it debilitated me. It laid me on my back. But now that I'm eating well, I am losing weight. I can see it coming down my face and my neck and my shoulders. And then again, the bloat is gone, the feeling of discomfort after I eat. I'm too full, or yeah, I'm full, but I didn't really like that. Those feelings are all gone. I'm fine. I could probably go and eat a whole nother plate, but because I have been able to um, control the amount of food that I eat, that has even stopped becoming a problem. So let me read this list to you again, because if you know anybody that has any of these issues, let them know that it is possible to totally reverse lupus, and you can work and you can reverse. And I even have personal documentation and personal witness. You can reverse kidney disease. So people just think, I guess I have to continue to go through these dialysis treatment. Well, I'm too old. My body's not going to be able to withstand it. I think it's too much, too little, too late. And that is just not the case. You can reverse lupus, even stage 4 kidney failure, um, by removing those foods that promote inflammation in the body. All right. And you can get rid of that excessive inflammation. So that's how you reverse it. And you can also learn of the 3 foods that you can buy at the supermarket that just fights off inflammation. This is where your This is where your battle is. The battle is not in treatments and medications. The battle is, after you've had the treatment, what are you going home to eat? What are you putting in your body? All right, listen, this is good because it also will give you a rapid recovery through hyper nourishing foods. All right, which I just mentioned many of them. Here are some more diseases that can be reversed. Besides lupus, which is my challenge, the second one is rheumatoid arthritis. The third one, Hashimoto's, and those that have these, they know what they're suffering. Or you can look it up. And then there's scleroderma. There's also Sjogren's, multiple sclerosis. Do you understand how severe that is? And people usually resign themselves to a life of a slow decline. But you can eliminate the signs and symptoms of these diseases by changing the foods that you eat, hyper nourishing the cells in your body, and regaining control of the amount of inflammation is there, reducing the amount of inflammation is there, and then ridding yourself of the excess inflammation. Now remember, inflammation also comes because there's illness or the body is fighting something out, forcing something out of the body with white blood cells. So inflammation has its place. But that excessive inflammation is causing all those diseases, and they can all be reversed. Now I'm going to go ahead and close with this. Again, the name of the book is called, and let me just put it in here in case you read it. And right now she has Dr. Brooke Goldner has a she has a what is it? She It's a webinar and it's called Goodbye Lupus. All right. So let me put this in here for you. And if you go in there, I think she said for the next 3 days she's going to have it on there. And you can just watch the video because that's all I did was watch her video on YouTube. And I started doing all these things. And right now, I am pretty much, I know exactly what to do to stop that pain. I know exactly what to do to prevent the pain. All right, so her name is Dr. Brooke Goldner. I'll go ahead and put that up there for you. And the book is called Goodbye Lupus. Let's see. There we go. Let's show that one. Okay, Goodbye Lupus. Now, if you go on there now, on YouTube, I'm telling somebody, I mean, you may go on to your next program. I know you may have some events going on. But the next few days, she has a webinar. And it's called Goodbye Lupus. Okay? And it's absolutely free for the next few days. All right? So you can pass this video on to someone and then see if they can benefit. They may just very well thank you and say, I just thought I was going to die with kidney disease. Now, I have a cousin that was actually dying. She was in emergency room every week, rushed to the emergency room because she had kidney disease and the body was just failing. And she was 89 years old, my dad's cousin. And she had to start taking dialysis. She went from taking two treatments a week to taking 3. Well, she changed her diet and she started what is called hypernutrition. And her daughter, my cousin, many of you know, Vicki Taylor Samuels, she gave her mother hyper nutrition. And they said, well, you'll only need one treatment. There's two treatments this week. And she went back the next week. They did her numbers, checked her blood. And then they said, well, probably just one treatment. And they just took her blood again. And then they said, when she came in to do the treatment, to take her dialysis treatment, they told her she could just go home. And she was 89 then. She just celebrated her 92nd birthday and has not been back on dialysis. So I am telling you, you absolutely can heal your body with hypernutrition. Okay? So I hope this is a blessing to you, and I hope that you'll pass this on to somebody. Again, I was so astonished by these different diseases and sicknesses that were turned around. Just imagine if it's just something like, dry skin or psoriasis, or if it's something, just allergies. Hypernutrition took care of these following diseases and reversed it: lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's disease, scleroderma, Sjogren's, multiple sclerosis, just simply by doing the 6 steps that she has. It's a step-by-step hypernourishment protocol that will rapidly recover. And that is her. And I'm going to go in and look at the videos. And let me see if I can find the name of this webinar that is on right now. It's called Watch This First. Hold on. Okay, she wants you to watch this first. It's How I Became Lupus Free. And that's Dr. Brooke Goldner. All right, so listen. I'm going to keep on searching, and any information that I get, I'm going to share with you. Tell people that you know that are taking dialysis. Tell people you know that are suffering with chronic arthritis and lupus and multiple sclerosis and scleroderma. Tell them that hypernutrition can indeed reverse these conditions in your body. All right? You believe in the medicine, try to believe in a cure through hypernutrition. All right, that's my vlog for today. Please share this with somebody, and even just put it on in your. Just go ahead, because there's a lot of nonsense out there on the internet anyway. There's a lot of worthless, time wasting stuff out there online anyway. Go ahead and share this with somebody, and let them know. Hey, take a few minutes, and it looks like I took 37 minutes. Tell them to take less than 40 minutes to look at this video and see if it can change your life and make life better for you. I mean, we got to get a testimony one way or another, and sometimes it's not as difficult as you think. All right, so with that, I'm going to say thanks for joining, thanks for watching, and thanks for following the vlog, Lupus, a chronological vlog with Dr. Valerie Simpson. God bless everyone. We love you in Jesus' name.